Okay, thank you for joining us. We're going to be having a walkthrough on WreckFest 2's Crap Creation. As you can see there, we're going to end up with a UK style banger racing looking car, elaborate logos, knackered paint job. Though I didn't have a particular design in mind when I started the project, that was the general aesthetic I was going for, was to be a British banger racer. So I will show you most of the steps in the process, but the footage is just sped up a little bit to get our way through it, and I'm not going to go over every single step. I think you'll get the general idea as we go. If anybody does want to see a more in-depth drawn out version, do let me know and I'll happily oblige. Now, I'm certainly not going to claim to be one of the greatest artists out there using this. There are some very, very talented people. I've seen some pretty good designs out there already. But for this one, although I have myself attempted some spoofs of famous logos, recreations, and generating my own letters, for this design we are going to be keeping it fairly simple and straightforward, just utilising the tools that we have to hand. So first of all, in the process, we're going to be getting the car looking like a banger racer should look, really, kind of old and knackered. As you can see here, we're going to be using the various rust tools, sandblasting tools, adding some scratches and such forth. Now, colour-wise, I'm at this point happy with the colours that I've chosen. But undoubtedly, as my designs evolve, the colour scheme probably will too. I'm sure you've grasped that already from having a quick preview at the end result. Now again, I'm not going to blah 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 over every single bit of the footage as we spin through now. Just give you again a comparison of colours against the backgrounds that we come up with. Just to give you a comparison of the colours against the rust and such forth. And yeah, I think I'm liking the dark blue for the moment, so I think we're going to go ahead and proceed with this as our base colour. We might swap around the layers that we've got here, because I think perhaps the rust over the sandblasted metal may not be working. I think I want that over the rust, as though we were trying to remove it. And now in different areas we're going to affect the different backgrounds, stylizing different types of rust as well, just to see which one looks the best. Now again, as you can see from the list, you can add different layers, so you don't have to have one layer of rust. You can go through different types. And we're going to skip forward now and get onto a bit more of a design stage where I'm just going to create some headlights for the car. Again, we're going to see little steps of this, and then we'll sort of flick to the end finished product. Fairly happy with that at the moment, but I'm sure again, like many things in the design, we'll probably come back to it. Now, there is going to be a little bit of lore and backstory hidden within the design itself. I'm sure at various points people will notice it. Obviously I did knock that logo up and stick it in there, so if you do spot it, drop a comment, let me know. Again, that was a copy paste. So a great addition to this tool has been the ability to group together items and then copy, paste or mirror, so you don't have to keep on recreating those logos again and again and again. Here for myself, we've got the Destination Wreck Racing rear number plate. Various different finishes. I do tend to go with a fairly metallic finish on the cars, if I can be bothered to undo the gloss on everything. I do like the matte look, but again, with certain things, gloss absolutely works. Again, here with the headlights, you can see colour schemes changing a little bit and putting in gradients just to give that extra little bit of effect. Now, one thing to bear in mind as well is while in the design tool, the graphics are vastly different to what you will see in game, kind of understandably, but here obviously with the lighting and reflections you do get the best picture of each car. So here we start with the numbers on the side of the car. I will show you a few little different bits step by step as we build it up, but I'll probably skip ahead to the end result at one point. So for this, again, it's UK Bangor aesthetics. So again, for this one, I'm going for a sort of UK banger car look, and unbelievably, or believably enough, as bashed up as the cars are, they do tend to go with pretty fancy decals and sponsors. So we are going with the gloss, we're going with gradients. Again, I am going to be looking forward to when you can actually gradient colour of an object, rather than trying to sort of force it to be done by different layers of gradients. Likewise with the text tool, here we are just going to be using the fonts that are provided rather than creating our own. And also hopefully they will introduce at some point some sort of text, type to text. And hopefully at some point they will introduce some sort of text to type tool rather than having to select individual letters one at a time. It's a bit laborious, but again we are grateful that we can now group things together. So here we're just building up some colours in the background, and then we're going to be going for our numbers, working out exactly what sort of sequence we want to get to the numbers we're representing. So here you can see this is how we're going to build up a little bit more dimension, and just messing around with spacing and sizing. Again, really didn't have a specific design in mind, just sort of playing it by ear, if you like. Seeing what I do, seeing what I like. And end result. Okay, so now we're able to mirror that to the other side, go over, select it, flip it. There's our numbers. So now that's established, we're going to be going for the main sponsor. And with this one, considering the state of the car, the word rock came to mind to start with. And that then you will see progresses into RotBox. So at this point, we are deciding to put these decals on the upper layer. That is because, being a banger racer, all of the damage is underneath, and then the decals have been added over the top, as it would be. This isn't an old race car, as in some designs where I do have the decals on the bottom layer, beneath any rust, sandblasted metal and dirt, etc. Oh, and there we go. That's an end result for our RotBox sponsorship. We are going to finish that off with a little bit more detail here and there. One of the built-in assets, we're going to make that work just to add to the sponsorship logo. I think we're going to go with an auto body shop. Again, the UK banger racers like to have a lot of highly reflective graphics, so we are trying that with the metal effect on the silver background. Again, grouping everything together so we can add that to the main design. Also wanting to give that a bit more definition, so by grouping that and then copying it and able to make it black, I can move that to the back. And you can see now how I want to play around with the silver layer. Just until I'm visually happy with it. Again, copy that to the other side. Your placement. One thing that would be nice is if once you've grouped things together you're able to stretch them. At the moment you can literally just do the initial resize, but being able to stretch vertically and horizontally would be a good addition as well. Hopefully that will come in a future update. But now back to just using basic assets for the rest of the logo. And there we go. Reflex again and deciding on positioning. As I go through and look at various design elements, I will probably change my mind numerous times. Well, that's the fun of it. being easily able to place everything around now with the grouping instead of having to literally remake every single logo each time you wanted to. It's made life a lot easier. Now giving things a little bit of a resize. Coming together, I think we're fairly happy with the design and layout. Not too over the top in detail, fairly simple enough, so you can just give yourself something different that would stand out from the crowd. Now again, we're going to flick through the colours just to see if anything makes it pop better than the dark blue, and I'm actually thinking this blue, but we might just run through the lot. If you had a particular favourite colour combination that you see, drop a comment. Yes, apologies, I do laboriously go through each of the colours here just to see which option sits with me best. I'm not sure if most YouTubers would leave you guys sat in a moment of silence or not, but, you know, early doors. Or even early days. Yeah, the red was actually pretty attractive, I might say. That looked quite good. Black, yeah, can't go wrong with black. That's quite effective. But I'm pretty sure I'm liking that blue. But I'm liking that blue better. Yeah, I think that pops. Now from here, just some minor details. I think we're going to add a couple of stripes. And the orange and the blue does go so well, of course, reminiscent of the golf colours. Not trying to do a golf inspired logo on this one. Once we've got that right, we're going to keep that down the bottom, mirror that to the other side, and go with some faded BMW stripes across the top. Now, these are bottom layer, these are faded as though they were original. The same with the orange decals on the lower sills. Now, pretty happy with this, but I do want to add a little bit more detail in that I think I'm going to add some scratches again on the bottom layer just to give it a little bit more of a worn look. That paint job looks a bit too fresh, so let's just see what else we can come up with here. Yeah, get some scratches on, possibly grey, take the glossness out, make that a bit metallic again so it looks a bit more like paint. Copy and paste these in a few different places. Probably change the colours up a little bit here and there. I don't know if I want it grey everywhere. Might add some more dark colours on the other side. And there we go. So yeah, I think that paintwork now is looking a little bit more appropriate and a little bit more worn as it should be. Happy enough with the headlights, happy enough with the graphics. I'll just take you on a little close up now. So again, in game, I mean particularly and quite possibly just because of my own graphic settings, everything's not quite as reflective, but then I wouldn't really expect it to be for showing that in an online multiplayer game. But here in the garage, it really does pop, especially with the metallic effects. That's nice to see. So I'll thank you for watching, like and subscribe.